Question 1. A research team is conducting a validity study on a newly developed emotional intelligence assessment. The team wants to ensure that the test accurately measures emotional intelligence and not another unrelated construct, such as general intelligence (IC). What method would be most appropriate for determining whether the test has convergent validity and discriminant validity? A. Administer the emotional intelligence test alongside an established general intelligence test and compare the results to see if they are highly correlated. B. Use a well-established self-report personality questionnaire to compare how well the emotional intelligence test correlates with measures of personality traits. C. Administer the emotional intelligence test alongside a test that measures a concept theoretically unrelated to emotional intelligence, e.g., general knowledge, and check for low correlation. D. Conduct factor analysis to determine whether the emotional intelligence test items load onto a single factor that represents emotional intelligence. Answer. C. Administer the emotional intelligence test alongside a test that measures a concept theoretically unrelated to emotional intelligence, e.g., general knowledge, and check for low correlation. Explanation. Convergent validity refers to the degree to which a test correlates with other tests that measure the same or similar construct, while discriminant validity refers to the extent to which a test does not correlate with measures of unrelated constructs. To establish these forms of validity, the best approach is to administer the emotional intelligence test alongside a test measuring an unrelated construct, such as general knowledge, and examine whether the two tests are uncorrelated. Low correlation would demonstrate that the emotional intelligence test is distinct from unrelated measures, thus supporting its discriminant validity is incorrect because administering the test alongside an intelligence test to check for correlation would not demonstrate discriminant validity. High correlation would suggest the two tests measure similar constructs, which would not validate the emotional intelligence test as distinct from IC. B is incorrect because comparing emotional intelligence with personality traits does not adequately test whether the test measures emotional intelligence and not unrelated constructs like general intelligence. D is incorrect because factor analysis can help identify the structure of the test, but it doesn't directly address the convergent and discriminant validity concerns related to other tests. Question 2. Scenario-based. Ethical considerations in testing. Dr. Martinez is a psychologist designing computer-based personality assessment for employee selection. He realizes that certain questions about emotional resilience may disproportionately disadvantage candidates from different cultural backgrounds. He is considering modifying the test to ensure fairness. Which action should Dr. Martinez take to improve the ethical validity of the assessment? A. Modify the test questions to ensure equal outcomes for all groups. B. Use statistical analysis to check for differential item functioning, diff, and adjust or remove biased items. C. Maintain the current test items to ensure consistency and comparability of results. D. Allow test takers to opt out of any questions they feel are culturally biased. Answer. B. Use statistical analysis to check for differential item functioning, diff, and adjust or remove biased items. Explanation. Differential item functioning, diff, is a statistical technique used to detect and correct bias in assessment items by analyzing whether different demographic groups perform differently on specific test items, controlling for ability levels. Answer B is correct because removing or adjusting biased items ensures fairness without distorting the validity of the test. Is incorrect because fairness means equal opportunity, not guaranteeing equal outcomes. C is incorrect because maintaining biased items compromises the validity of the assessment. D is incorrect because allowing test takers to opt out of questions may introduce response bias and invalidate comparisons. Relevant guidelines, test and cultural bias in psychometric assessments, EOP, guidelines on employee selection procedures. Question 3. Computerized adaptive testing CAT algorithm. A testing organization implements a computerized adaptive testing CAT system where test difficulty adjusts in real time based on a candidate's responses. The algorithm selects the next question based on which principle. A. It always presents a question of median difficulty to maintain consistency. B. It selects a question with maximum information based on the candidate's estimated ability level. C. It randomly selects from pool of predetermined test questions. D. It presents questions sequentially regardless of difficulty to ensure full coverage of topics. Answer. B. It selects a question with maximum information based on the candidate's estimated ability level. Explanation. In computerized adaptive testing, CAT, the next question is selected using item response theory, which prioritizes questions that provide the most information about the test taker's ability level. Answer B is correct because the algorithm adapts dynamically to maximize precision in estimating the candidate's skill. Is incorrect because CAT does not use fixed difficulty. It adjusts based on responses. C is incorrect because CAT does not randomly select questions. D is incorrect because CAT does not follow rigid sequential order. It prioritizes personalized assessment, relevant guideline, item response theory, and adaptive test principles. National Council on Measurement in Education, NCME. Question 4. Test design and item construction. You are tasked with developing a psychometric test for hiring purposes that measures cognitive ability, specifically problem-solving skills. In developing multiple-choice questions, you need to ensure that each item measures a specific cognitive skill and adheres to cognitive complexity guidelines. Which of the following best describes an effective strategy for item construction? A. Write questions that are easy to answer but have only one obvious correct answer to reduce test-taking time. B. Include questions with distractors that are plausible but clearly incorrect to avoid confusion. C. Ensure questions are aligned with the cognitive complexity of the position and avoid overcomplicating the test to maintain fairness. D. Use a fixed pattern of question types. E.g. all true-false to reduce the difficulty in responding. Answer. C. Ensure questions are aligned with the cognitive complexity of the position and avoid overcomplicating the test to maintain fairness. Explanation. Effective test item construction aligns with Bloom's taxonomy and other cognitive frameworks to ensure that questions measure appropriate levels of complexity. In cognitive ability tests, it is crucial to match the question's difficulty with the job's cognitive requirements without making the test hard or unfair. Answer C is correct because it focuses on aligning difficulty and ensuring fairness in terms of relevance to the job. Is incorrect because easy questions do not provide enough depth for assessing real problem-solving ability. B is incorrect because distractors, though clearly incorrect, do not challenge the candidate's true cognitive ability. D is incorrect because uniform question types limit the breadth of cognitive skills assessed and may bias results. Relevant guideline, cognitive level classification and Bloom's taxonomy for item development. Question 5. Sampling methods and bias. In a study of employee satisfaction, you are tasked with selecting a sample of 500 employees from a company with 5,000 total employees. The company is divided into 5 departments, and you want to ensure that each department is adequately represented based on its size. Which of the following sampling techniques would be the most appropriate for this scenario? A. Simple random sampling. B. Stratified sampling. C. Judgment sampling. D. Quota sampling. Answer. B. Stratified sampling. Explanation. Stratified sampling is the best choice when the population consists of subgroups, such as departments in a company that should be proportionately represented in the sample. In this case, by using stratified sampling, you can ensure that each department is adequately represented and the sample reflects the structure of the organization. Is incorrect because simple random sampling does not ensure proper representation of different subgroups in the population. C is incorrect because judgment sampling involves selecting participants based on subjective criteria and may not ensure adequate representation of all subgroups. D is incorrect because quota sampling aims to ensure that certain quotas are met, but it doesn't rely on a random process and could introduce bias. Relevant guideline, sampling techniques and proportional representation. Question 6. Computer-based assessment technology. An organization wants to use a computerized adaptive testing CAT system to assess candidates for high-stakes certification exams. They are concerned about ensuring that the algorithm consistently maintains test security while delivering a personalized assessment. Which of the following features is essential for ensuring both the security and the validity of the assessment in a CAT system? A. The use of randomized question pools and time sessions to prevent test takers from memorizing questions. B. The ability to adjust test difficulty to match the candidate's ability level without relying on item randomness. C. Limiting the number of items selected from any single subtopic to avoid repetition and cheating. D. Ensuring that the software allows unlimited practice tests to familiarize candidates with the format. Answer A. The use of randomized question pools and time sessions to prevent test takers from memorizing questions. Explanation. Test security in computerized adaptive testing is ensured by using randomized question pools so that no two candidates receive the same set of questions and time sessions to prevent candidates from taking excessive time or seeking external help. Answer is correct because it ensures that candidates cannot anticipate or memorize the questions, which helps preserve the integrity and validity of the test. B is incorrect because while adaptive systems adjust difficulty, security relies more on item randomization and timing. C is incorrect because it does not directly address the security concerns of the assessment system. D is incorrect because unlimited practice tests could undermine the test's integrity, allowing candidates to practice with specific items. Relevant guideline, security features in computerized testing systems. Question 7. Data collection and analysis. You are analyzing the results of a nationwide computer-based psychological assessment aimed at measuring emotional intelligence. During data analysis, you notice that certain demographic groups have consistently lower average I scores. Which of the following actions should you take to ensure the validity and fairness of the test results? A. Adjust the scores to remove the demographic effects and present a single set of results for all groups. B. Investigate the items for potential cultural bias and revise or remove items that might not be culturally fair. C. Ignore demographic differences as they are not relevant to the analysis of emotional intelligence. D. Exclude all participants from the affected demographic groups to prevent bias in the results. Answer. B. Investigate the items for potential cultural bias and revise or remove items that might not be culturally fair. Explanation. When significant demographic differences are observed in test results, it is essential to investigate potential bias in test items. This can involve checking for differential item functioning (diff) to ensure that items do not unfairly disadvantage certain groups. Answer B is correct because cultural bias may affect how individuals interpret and respond to emotional intelligence assessments. It is incorrect because adjusting scores without addressing the root cause of bias is unethical and would distort the results. C is incorrect because demographic differences could indicate underlying issues in test fairness or validity which should be addressed. D is incorrect because exclusion of certain groups would violate ethical guide and reduce the generalizability of the results. Relevant guideline, fairness and bias in psychometric testing. Question 8. Ethical and legal considerations in test development. In designing a new computer-based cognitive ability test, you are required to inform potential test takers about the nature of the test, the risks involved, and how their data will be used. Which of the following actions best adheres to ethical standards for informed consent? A. Provide a general description of the test and collect consent without disclosing detailed data usage policies to speed up the process. B. Offer a detailed consent form explaining the purpose of the test, how data will be stored, and how it will be used for analysis, research, or hiring decisions. C. Allow participants to sign a consent form that only includes consent for data collection but not for the data's future use or analysis. D. Ensure that consent is implied by the participants beginning the test, as they will have access to a summary of terms at the start. Answer. B. Offer a detailed consent form explaining the purpose of the test, how data will be stored, and how it will be used for analysis, research, or hiring decisions. Explanation. Informed consent in testing requires explicit communication about what participants are agreeing to, which includes a detailed explanation of how their data will be used. Answer B is correct because it ensures that participants fully understand both the risks and the uses of their data, which is a core principle in ethical test development. Is incorrect because providing only a general description of the test without clear details on data usage does not meet informed consent standards. C is incorrect because informed consent should cover both data collection and its future use. D is incorrect because consent cannot be considered implied. It must be explicit and documented. Relevant guideline. Ethical standards for psychometric test development, ICAT guidelines. Question 9. Psychological and behavioral assessments. A clinical psychologist is using a personality assessment tool that measures the Big Five personality traits to predict job performance. They notice that certain candidates' results show extreme scores on the neuroticism scale, suggesting higher likelihood of stress. Which of the following should the psychologist consider when interpreting these results in relation to job performance? A. The higher neuroticism score directly indicates poor job performance and should be used as reason to disqualify the candidate. B. The score on neuroticism should be interpreted in conjunction with other traits and contextual information about the role before making any employment decisions. C. Neuroticism scores are irrelevant to job performance and therefore they should be disregarded in the assessment process. D. Candidates with neuroticism should be offered additional training and support regardless of their other personality traits. Answer: B. The score on neuroticism should be interpreted in conjunction with other traits and contextual information about the role before making any employment decisions. Explanation: when assessing personality traits, it is essential to consider the full context of the candidate's profile, including the interplay of various traits and the job requirements. Answer B is correct because high neuroticism alone does not determine job performance. It should be assessed alongside other traits, such as emotional stability, conscientiousness, etc., and the job's demands. Is incorrect because disqualifying candidates based on one trait without considering the full profile and role requirements is not ethical or accurate. C is incorrect because personality traits like neuroticism can be relevant for performance in certain roles, especially those that require emotional resilience. D is incorrect because high neuroticism may indicate need for support, but it does not justify automatic interventions without further assessment of the person's overall abilities. Relevant guideline: personality assessments and ethical use in employment. About guidelines on employment testing. Question 10. Test validity and reliability. You're evaluating a newly developed psychometric test for measuring leadership qualities in potential candidates. The test has demonstrated that scores are consistent over multiple administrations, but there are concerns about whether the test is truly measuring leadership qualities as it heavily correlates with a general personality test. Which of the following actions would best address these concerns? Regard construct validity of the test. A. Conduct a factor analysis to assess if leadership is distinct from other personality traits measured by the general personality test. B. Use a different testing methodology, such as observational assessment, to corroborate the test results. C. Modify the test to ensure it does not correlate with other personality traits, even if it impacts the content validity. D. Increase the number of items in the test to make it more reliable without evaluating its construct validity. Answer A. Conduct a factor analysis to assess if leadership is distinct from other personality traits measured by the general personality test. Explanation: to ensure that the test measures leadership specifically and is not confounded with general personality traits, a factor analysis can be used to identify whether the test assesses distinct constructs. This helps in establishing construct validity, which ensures the test is truly measuring what it is intended to measure. B is incorrect because observational assessments are not necessary to evaluate construct validity. C is incorrect because the test should still be relevant to the construct of leadership, and eliminating correlations without a theoretical basis can distort the measure. D is incorrect because increasing the number of items doesn't guarantee better construct validity without further validation efforts. Question 11. Test security and integrity. In designing a high-stakes online exam for professional certification, you want to implement security measures to prevent cheating and data breaches. Which of the following actions would be the most effective in protecting test security while maintaining a smooth user experience for test takers? A. Use video surveillance and identity verification to monitor test takers throughout the exam, even in a remote setting. B. Implement time limits and randomized question pools to reduce the likelihood of cheating or pattern recognition. C. Allow test takers to access study materials during the exam to reduce stress and improve fairness. D. Require candidates to sign an agreement to follow the rules without implementing additional technical security measures. Answer B. Implement time limits and randomized question pools to reduce the likelihood of cheating or pattern recognition. Explanation: randomized question pools and time limits ensure that each candidate receives a unique set of questions, reducing the chances of cheating. By implementing these measures, the exam becomes more secure without introducing significant barriers to a smooth user experience. It is incorrect because video surveillance may be intrusive and to privacy concerns, while not always preventing cheating in an online setting. C is incorrect because providing access to study materials during the exam undermines its integrity by giving candidates an unfair advantage. D is incorrect because relying solely on a signed agreement without technical security measures will not prevent cheating effectively. Question 12. Ethical implications of test data usage. You are tasked with creating a psychological test for assessing emotional intelligence in job applicants. However, after reviewing the initial results, you notice that the test results show significant variations across different demographic groups. As a responsible practitioner, which of the following actions should you take to address these variations in the context of test fairness? A. Modify the test to ensure all demographic groups perform similarly on the test, even if it affects the validity of the test. B. Investigate potential cultural bias or other sources of disparity and make adjustments to ensure the test is equally valid for all groups. C. Ignore the demographic differences, as they are not important for the test's purpose of measuring emotional intelligence. D. Exclude the demographic groups with significant differences, avoid skewing the results. Answer: B. Investigate potential cultural bias or other sources of disparity and make adjustments to ensure the test is equally valid for all groups. Explanation: when significant demographic differences are observed, the test should be examined for cultural bias or other factors that may cause disparities. Adjusting the test to ensure it measures emotional intelligence equally for all groups ensures both validity and fairness. Is incorrect because changed test to force equal results could undermine its validity and fairness. C is incorrect because ignoring the demographic variations could lead to biased conclusions and unethical practices. D is incorrect because exclusion of certain groups violates ethical guidelines and reduces the generalizability of the test. Question 13. Technology and data security in online testing. You are overseeing the development of an online psychometric test for a multinational company. Ensuring the security of candidates' data and maintaining confidentiality is crucial. Which of the following actions would best ensure compliance with data protection regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR)? A. Use secure data encryption for storing and transmitting personal information and ensure that candidates have access to clear privacy policies. B. Allow test takers to submit their personal information on the test website without any encryption, as the test is not directly related to sensitive data. C. Collect personal information only after the test has been completed to reduce the chances of data theft. D. Share personal data with third parties for research purposes only with the candidate's verbal consent. Answer A. Use secure data encryption for storing and transmitting personal information and ensure that candidates have access to clear privacy policies. Explanation: data encryption is essential to ensure the security and confidentiality of candidates' personal information. Additionally, clear and accessible privacy policies help ensure compliance with data protection laws in GDPR. Insert ensures that both privacy and security standards are upheld. B is incorrect because unencrypted data could be intercepted or compromised, violating data protection regulations. C is incorrect because collecting information after the test may cause delays and still exposes candidates' personal information. D is incorrect because verbal consent is not sufficient. Written consent and clear opt-in policies are necessary. Question 14. Test bias and differential item functioning. You are reviewing a new personality test for hiring that has been shown to have higher average scores for men compared to women on a particular subscale. Which of the following should be your next step in investigating the potential bias of the test? A. Remove the subscale entirely to eliminate gender differences. B. Perform a differential item functioning diff analysis to determine if any specific items are functioning differently for men and women. C. Accept the results as a reflection of inherent gender differences and do not modify the test. D. Recalibrate the test to adjust scores based on gender to ensure both groups perform equally. Answer: B. Perform a differential item functioning diff analysis to determine if any specific items are functioning differently for men and women. Explanation: a differential item functioning diff analysis identifies specific items that may function differently across groups. Its standard method to determine whether gender, culture, or other factors contribute to differences in test performance. This approach ensures that test results are valid and fair across groups. Is incorrect because removing the subscale may not solve the underlying problem and may lead to loss of useful data. C is incorrect because accepting biased results without investigation can lead to discriminatory practices and unethical decision-making. D is incorrect because recalibration may obscure the test's true purpose and validity, while diff analysis allows for more targeted improvements. Question 15. Ethical test development. As part of your role in test development, you're tasked with ensuring that the psychological test you create adheres to high ethical standards. Which of the following principles should you prioritize to ensure the test is ethically sound? A. Ensure that the test only measures traits that are highly correlated with job performance, even if other factors are excluded. B. Prioritize the ease of test administration, even if it means sacrificing the depth of the test's assessment of important psychological traits. C. Ensure that test results are used only for the intended purpose and that candidates are not unfairly penalized for factors outside their control. D. Focus on create shortest test possible to minimize candidate burden, even if it impacts the validity of the test. Answer C. Ensure that test results are used only for the intended purpose and that candidates are not unfairly penalized for factors outside their control. Explanation. Ethical test development involves ensuring that the test results are used fairly in accordance with the intended purpose. Test takers should not be unfairly penalized or judged based on irrelevant factors or personal traits, ensuring fairness, confidentiality, and appropriate use of a core ethical principle is incorrect because narrowing the scope of the test may lead to missed important traits that affect the job performance. B is incorrect because prioritizing ease of administration at the cost of depth can result in an insufficient and incomplete measure of psychological traits. D is incorrect because shortening the test without considering validity may undermine its predictive power and accuracy. Question 16. Psychometric test development for recruitment. In a job selection process you are using a psychometric test to assess candidates' ability to work under pressure. The test has both situational judgment component and stress tolerance scale. After analyzing the test results, you notice that high scores on the stress tolerance scale correlate with better job performance. Which of the following should be your next step? A. Focus on stress tolerance as the sole predictor of job success and ignore other components. B. Validate the stress tolerance scale by conducting additional research to confirm that it specifically relates to the job's demands. C. Just the test so that all candidates score high on stress tolerance to ensure fairness. D. Discard the stress tolerance scale and focus only on the situational judgment component as it is more comprehensive. Answer. B. Validate the stress tolerance scale by conducting additional research to confirm that it specifically relates to the job's demands. Explanation. Before concluding that stress tolerance is the best predictor of success, it's essential to validate the scale by conducting additional studies that confirm its relevance and predictive power. Validation ensures the test measures the appropriate trait and predicts performance accurately. Is incorrect because focusing solely one factor without proper validation may lead to an incomplete understanding of the job requirements. C is incorrect because adjusting scores to artificially ensure fairness undermines the integrity of the test. D is incorrect because discarding useful measure like stress tolerance without validation could result in missing critical information for job performance. Question 17. Test interpretation and feedback. As a test administrator, you are required to provide feedback to candidates who have completed an online assessment measuring cognitive abilities and personality traits. You notice that a candidate has a high score for conscientiousness but a low score for extroversion. What approach should you take when discussing these results with the candidate? A. Discuss how their high conscientiousness score suggests they are a good fit for the role, while their low extroversion indicates they may struggle with teamwork. B. Focus only on the cognitive ability results and avoid discussing personality traits as they might cause unnecessary concern for the candidate. C. Present the results in a balanced way, explaining how both high conscientiousness and low extroversion can be strengths in certain work environments. Offer suggestions for personal development. D. Focus solely on the low extroversion score, explaining that this may limit the candidate's potential in highly social role. Answer. C. Present the results in a balanced way, explaining how both high conscientiousness and low extroversion can be strengths in certain work environments, and offer suggestions for personal development. Explanation. It's important to provide balanced feedback that helps candidates understand both strengths and potential areas for development. Conscientiousness is an asset in roles requiring attention to detail, while low extroversion may be beneficial for positions requiring independent work. Offering holistic perspective ensures candidates can see how their traits fit into various work environments. Is incorrect because suggesting that low extroversion automatically indicates difficulty with teamwork is an oversimplification and may lead to unnecessary bias. B is incorrect because avoiding personality traits altogether deprives the candidate of valuable insights for personal development. D is incorrect because focusing on one trait. Isolation does not offer complete and fair interpretation of the test results. Question 18. Designing a fair psychometric test. You are tasked with creating a psychometric test for a university's admissions process. The test includes both cognitive ability assessments and personality evaluations. To ensure fairness, which of the following strategies would you prioritize during the test development process to avoid potential bias against certain groups? Ensure the test items are culturally neutral, do not favor any particular gender or socioeconomic background, and are reviewed by a diverse group of experts to assess potential biases. B. Focus solely on cognitive ability assessments as they are the most objective and least likely to be biased. C. Create a test that includes both cognitive and personality assessments but ignore potential biases in item wording as personality are universal. D. Develop the test to reflect the cultural values of the institution, assuming that those from similar backgrounds will perform better. Answer A. Ensure the test items are culturally neutral, do not favor any particular gender or socioeconomic background, and are reviewed by a diverse group of experts to assess potential biases. Explanation. To ensure fairness in psychometric testing, it's essential to ensure that the test items are culturally neutral and do not inadvertently favor one group over another. A diverse review panel will help identify and correct any biases in the development process. Ensuring fair and valid assessments for all applicants is the key goal. B is incorrect because focusing only on cognitive assessments without considering personality may exclude important factors related to an applicant's qualifications. C is incorrect because ignoring potential biases, particularly in personality traits, can lead to unfair results. D is incorrect because cultural reflection in test may disadvantage individuals from different backgrounds and reduce fairness. Question 19. Test interpretation for decision making. As a human resources manager, you are reviewing the results of the psychometric assessment used in the recruitment process. The candidate scored highly in cognitive ability but received a low score for teamwork skills, which is critical for the role. How should you interpret and communicate these results? A. Focus primarily on cognitive ability and downplay the low teamwork score, as cognitive ability is the best predictor of job success. B. Discuss the candidate's high cognitive ability while also acknowledging the low teamwork score, exploring how it may be improved through training. C. Disqualify the candidate based on the low teamwork score, as it is a critical factor for the role. D. Use the low teamwork score as the main reason for hiring the candidate, regardless of their cognitive ability score. Answer B. Discuss the candidate's high cognitive ability while also acknowledging the low teamwork score, exploring how it may be improved through training. Explanation. It is important to provide balanced interpretation of both strengths and areas for development. Acknowledging the candidate's high cognitive ability while also discussing potential improvement areas, such as teamwork skills, offers constructive approach. This allows for more nuanced view. Candidate's potential is incorrect because downplaying important factors like teamwork could result in mismatch between the candidate's abilities and job requirements. C is incorrect because single low score in teamwork should not automatically disqualify candidate without considering the whole profile and potential for development. D is incorrect because teamwork alone shouldn't be the sole disqualifying factor. The candidate's overall potential should be considered. Question 20. Improving test reliability. You are developing a new psychometric test for a retail company to assess the personality traits of applicants. After conducting a trial run, you find that the test produces inconsistent results when administered to the same group of candidates over different sessions. What would be the best next step to improve the reliability of this test? Increase the length of the test to ensure more consistent results across multiple sessions. B. Conduct a test-to-test reliability study by administering the test to the same group of individuals at different times and evaluating the consistency of scores. C. Adjust the test's scoring algorithm to ensure consistency in the results. D. Remove the questions that produced inconsistent results to simplify the test. Answer B. Conduct a test-to-test reliability study by administering the test to the same group of individuals at different times and evaluating the consistency of scores. Explanation. To improve reliability, conducting a test-to-test reliability study is crucial. This involves administering the test at different points in time to the same participants to check for consistency in results. This process helps identify any flaws in the test's ability to produce stable results over time. Is incorrect because increasing the length of the test may not necessarily address the issue of reliability and could introduce fatigue, affecting performance. C is incorrect because adjusting the scoring algorithm doesn't address potential underlying issues with the consistency of the test items. D is incorrect because removing inconsistent items without investigating further can lead to the loss of important content validity. Question 21. Ethical use of test results. You are tasked with implementing a new psychometric test to evaluate job candidates for a managerial position. After the tests are completed, you notice that some candidates scored significantly lower than others due to technical issues in the test delivery system. What is the most ethical course of action? A. Ignore the technical issues and proceed with the selection process as planned. B. Disqualify the candidates who scored lower due to technical issues as they were unable to perform at their best. C. Retest the candidates who were affected by technical issues and allow them the opportunity to take the test under proper conditions. D. Recalculate the scores of all candidates to ensure no one is at a disadvantage regardless of the technical issues. Answer. C. Retest the candidates who were affected by technical issues and allow them the opportunity to take the test under proper conditions. Explanation. The most ethical course of action would be to retest the affected candidates. This ensures that all candidates have the same opportunity to demonstrate their abilities in a fair testing environment. Addressing technical issues transparently is essential to maintain the integrity of the process. Is incorrect because the technical issues could lead to unfair decisions and undermine the test's validity. B is incorrect because disqualifying candidates for issues that would be on their control violates ethical standards for fairness. D is incorrect because recalculating scores without further testing could result in misleading outcomes, as the candidates' original scores may not reflect their true abilities. Question 22. Managing test anxiety. As a psychologist, you're administering a psychometric assessment that is known to cause anxiety in test takers. Some candidates have expressed their concerns about the pressure of performing well on the test. How should you address these concerns to ensure both validity and fairness in the testing process? A. Encourage candidates to ignore their anxiety and focus solely on the test questions. B. Provide candidates with relaxation techniques before and during the test, such as breathing exercises to help manage anxiety. C. Allow candidates to take breaks during the test, but only if they ask for one. D. Exempt anxious candidates from taking the test to avoid skewed results. Answer. B. Provide candidates with relaxation techniques before and during the test, such as breathing exercises to help manage anxiety. Explanation. Providing relaxation techniques such as deep breathing helps candidates manage test anxiety while ensuring that their performance is not negatively affected by stress. This approach maintains both validity and fairness in the test results. It is incorrect because simply ignoring anxiety may exacerbate this and impact the accuracy of the test results. C is incorrect because allowing breaks only on request may not be sufficient to manage anxiety, and candidates may not feel comfortable requesting a break. D is incorrect because exempting candidates based on anxiety would lead to discrimination and unfair treatment. Question 23. Psychometric test for selection. A company uses a psychometric test to assess candidates for a leadership role. After reviewing the results, the hiring manager notices that candidates from diverse cultural backgrounds tend to score lower on the test. What is the most appropriate course of action to address this concern? A. Modify the test to align more closely with the dominant cultural norms of the workplace. B. Conduct a differential item functioning diff analysis to identify potential cultural biases in the test items. C. Disqualify all candidates from diverse backgrounds to avoid skewing the results. D. Ignore the cultural differences, as leadership potential should be universal and not influenced by background. Answer. B. Conduct a differential item functioning diff analysis to identify potential cultural biases in the test items. Explanation. A differential item functioning diff analysis can identify if certain items on the test function differently across cultural groups. This ensures the test is valid and fair for all candidates, regardless of their cultural background. It is incorrect because modifying the test to favor a specific culture can lead to biased results and discrimination. C is incorrect because disqualifying candidates based on cultural background violates ethical guidelines and fairness. D is incorrect because cultural differences do influence how individuals may interpret or perform on certain items, making it important to address potential biases. Question 24. Developing a personality inventory. You are developing a personality inventory to assess traits like extroversion, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. During the validation process, you notice that the test's results show high correlations with other unrelated personality traits, which may indicate an overlap. How should you address this issue? A. Conduct a factor analysis to determine if the traits are distinct or if they need to be consolidated into fewer categories. B. Ignore the overlap and keep the traits as separate dimensions, assuming the correlations are due to randomness. C. Remove the items that show overlap without conducting further analysis to reduce complexity. D. Simplify the personality inventory by reducing the number of dimensions being assessed. Answer A. Conduct a factor analysis to determine if the traits are distinct or if they need to be consolidated into fewer categories. Explanation. A factor analysis helps determine whether the different traits are measuring distinct dimensions. If there is significant overlap, it may suggest that some traits are related or redundant. Factor analysis ensures that the inventory measures distinct and meaningful traits. B is incorrect because ignoring the correlation without investigation could lead to invalid and incomplete results. C is incorrect because removing items without analysis can result in a loss of content validity and distort the test's purpose. D is incorrect because simplifying the test may reduce its ability to capture important dimensions of personality. Question 25. Addressing test score validity. You have been using a personality test to evaluate candidates for various roles in your company. However, you notice that some candidates perform poorly on the extroversion scale but excel in team-related tasks in real life. What steps should you take to determine the validity of the test for assessing extroversion in this context? A. Review the test items related to extroversion and ensure they are culturally and contextually appropriate for all roles being assessed. B. Continue using the test as is and assume that the test's extroversion scale is valid even if it doesn't align with real-life performance. C. Conduct validation study by comparing test results with actual job performance data, particularly focusing on teamwork and social behavior. D. Discover extroversion scale and develop new scale focused on introversion and extroversion. Answer. C. Conduct a validation study by comparing test results with actual job performance data, particularly focusing on teamwork and social behavior. Explanation. A validation study that compares the test results with real-life performance is the best way to assess whether the extroversion scale accurately reflects a candidate's ability to perform in team settings. It helps determine if the test truly measures what it intends to and if its scores are. With job performance is incorrect because while reviewing test items for appropriateness is essential, it doesn't directly address the need for validating the test's relevance to real-world performance. B is incorrect because continuing to use a test without validating its accuracy for predicting performance could result in poor decision-making. D is incorrect because discarding the extroversion scale may not be necessary if the scale can be validated, relevant for assessing social behavior and team involvement. Question 26. A company is utilizing a computerized adaptive test (CAT) to evaluate candidates for managerial positions. However, some candidates have expressed concerns about the perceived fairness of the test due to certain questions being consistently presented to them in quick succession, resulting in frustration and low test performance. How can the test design be improved to address these concerns? A. Modify the test to allow for a fixed number of questions, regardless of performance, to eliminate the issue of fast question presentation. B. Implement a progressive difficulty algorithm that gradually increases the complexity of the questions to align with the candidate's performance. C. Introduce longer time limits for each question to provide candidates with additional time to process the information. D. Review the candidate feedback and adjust the content but keep the rapid presentation of questions as it is, assuming it's an inherent aspect of the test design. Answer B. Implement a progressive difficulty algorithm that gradually increases the complexity of the questions to align with the candidate's performance. Explanation. A progressive difficulty algorithm allows the test to adjust based on a candidate's ability, offering questions that are neither too difficult nor too easy. This minimizes frustration by ensuring that candidates are tested at an appropriate level, resulting in more accurate assessment of their capabilities. Goal is to maintain test fairness and reduce anxiety by presenting questions that align with their cognitive abilities. Is incorrect because using fixed number of questions does not account for individual differences in test taker abilities and may introduce unnecessary difficulty for some candidates. C is incorrect because adding more time per question does not solve the core issue of question difficulty and pacing. It's more effective to adjust the difficulty. D is incorrect because adjusting content based solely on feedback without addressing the core issue of difficulty may not improve test fairness. Question 27. In a psychometric evaluation of a new personality assessment, the results indicate a significant test-to-test reliability issue. Candidates taking the test a second time have drastically different results despite the same conditions and test content. What should the test developer focus on to improve the test-to-test reliability of this assessment? A. Modify the test to reduce the number of items and ensure that the assessment can be completed quickly. B. Ensure the test measures stable personality traits, such as introversion and extroversion, that are unlikely to fluctuate between test administrations. C. Revise the scoring system to be more lenient in scoring and allow for higher variance in responses. D. Focus on enhancing the test validity as reliability issues are unrelated to accuracy of the measurement. Answer. B. Ensure the test measures stable personality traits, such as introversion and extroversion, that are unlikely to fluctuate between test administrations. Explanation. Test-to-test reliability is the consistency of test scores when the same test is administered to the same individuals at different times. The issue in this case likely arises from the test measuring traits that may fluctuate, e.g., temporary mood or situational factors, than stable personality traits. Focusing on stable characteristics like introversion and extroversion, which are less likely to change over time, will improve test-to-test reliability. It is incorrect because reducing the number of items does not necessarily address the underlying issue of measurement consistency. C is incorrect because revising the scoring system to allow for more variance may undermine test reliability and lead to inconsistent scores. Is incorrect because while validity is important, reliability must be addressed separately to ensure consistent results over time. Question 28. In a research study, the test developer is conducting a factor analysis to determine the underlying constructs of a newly developed cognitive ability test. However, the results indicate that some of the items do not align with the expected factors and appear to load onto unrelated constructs. What is the most appropriate course of action? A. Revise the test items and remove those that do not align with the expected factors, ensuring that all items measure a single construct. B. Conduct a reliability analysis to confirm that the test items are measuring the same construct despite the factor analysis results. C. Conduct a multiple regression analysis to examine the relationships between the items and other external variables, ignoring the factor analysis results. D. Use the items as is, assuming that some level of factor misalignment is acceptable in a cognitive ability test. Answer A. Revise the test items and remove those that do not align with the expected factors, ensuring that all items measure a single construct. Explanation. When conducting factor analysis, the goal is to ensure that the test items load onto the expected factors that align with the constructs being measured. If some items do not align with the expected constructs, they should be revised or removed to ensure that the test accurately measures the intended abilities. Traits. Factor misalignment can lead to invalid results and poor construct validity. B is incorrect because a reliability analysis alone won't resolve the factor misalignment issue. Reliability addresses consistency, not the appropriateness of the items for the construct. C is incorrect because a multiple regression analysis is typically used for examining relationships between variables, not for resolving issues of factor misalignment in test development. D is incorrect because factor misalignment should not be accepted as it can compromise the test's validity. Question 29. A company is using a Likert scale to measure the job satisfaction of its employees, but after analyzing the results, it becomes evident that there is a ceiling effect in which a majority of respondents have selected the highest possible rating for most items. What should the company do to address this issue? A. Reduce the number of response options on the Likert scale to just 3, e.g. agree, neutral, disagree, to prevent a ceiling effect. B. Revise the wording of the questions to include more distinctive levels of satisfaction to better capture variations in employee opinions. C. Introduce a forced choice response system to prevent employees from choosing the extreme options. D. Assume the ceiling effect is not problematic. A majority of employees are satisfied with their jobs. Answer. B. Revise the wording of the questions to include more distinctive levels of satisfaction to better capture variations in employee opinions. Explanation. The ceiling effect occurs when most respondents select the highest rating, making it difficult to detect meaningful differences between respondents. To address this, the company should revise the questions to ensure that the response options offer more distinctive levels of satisfaction, allowing a clearer understanding of employee opinions and reducing the likelihood of clustering at the top end. Is incorrect because reducing the number of options may oversimplify the responses and fail to capture the full range of satisfaction levels. C is incorrect because a forced choice system might restrict respondents' true feelings and lead to distorted results. D is incorrect because ignoring the ceiling effect could lead to inaccurate interpretations of the data and hinder decision-making. Question 30. The development of a new personality assessment tool reveals that the results of the test vary significantly based on the mode of administration, e.g., paper-based versus online. This inconsistency raises concerns about the test's reliability. What actions should the test developer take to address this issue? A. Ensure that the test format, paper or online, does not affect the test taker's responses by making adjustments to the design for both modes. B. Continue using both modes without any changes, as different administration formats naturally result in variability in test performance. C. Conduct a cross-mode reliability analysis to compare the results from different administration formats and ensure consistency across both. D. Switch to single administration format to eliminate variability and improve the test's reliability. Answer. C. Conduct a cross-mode reliability analysis to compare the results from different administration formats and ensure consistency across both. Explanation. A cross-mode reliability analysis is essential when there is variability in test performance across different modes of administration. This analysis can determine whether the results are consistent and if the mode of administration influences the outcomes. Ensuring that the test performs equally both modes is crucial for improving reliability. It is incorrect because making adjustments without analyzing cross-mode reliability may not address the root cause of the variability. B is incorrect because assuming variability between formats is acceptable without further analysis would undermine the test's reliability. D is incorrect because switching to single administration format may not be necessary if the issue can be resolved with cross-mode analysis.